Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Before we begin, like always, I want to thank my sponsors, my anchor sponsors, Jake and Sergio. Thank you guys for sponsoring the podcast. Today, I also want to thank Inferno for allowing me to record today's episode here. We're out here in Brawley at Inferno. Make sure you guys stop by and try out their pizzas. I heard they were pretty good. And today, we're here in Brawley to meet with this crew of veterans from the Valley, the Blue Falcon Krew. Thank you guys for taking some time off and being on my podcast.
Thank you. You're welcome for inviting us.
I get excited when I hear people are starting their own podcast because as it is, it's kind of hard. Like for me that I'm a podcaster, I've been doing this for like 2 years now. It's kind of hard like to get people to listen. So like when I hear you guys doing it, I think like there's more listeners in the Valley that are going to be looking for a podcast to listen to, especially if it's somebody else from the Valley, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I get excited when there's more people from the Valley. But before we begin, can you name yourselves, you guys? Who's part of the?
Well, it's three of us, as everyone. I think you guys already know. My name is Ramon Castro.
I'm Raymond Gonzalez.
I'm Ernie Mariscal.
And all three of you guys are from here, from Brawley?
Yeah, originally I'm born and raised in Brawley.
And,
Born and raised in Brawley.
And the three of you are veterans?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all veterans.
And thank you guys for your service.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and how did you guys meet before the service or after? Or how did...
Yeah, no, I normally don't hang out with people like such as them, but since they happen to be veterans, we kind of... no, so you know what, Ernie, I mean, I'll go on it real quick, just speak a little bit about it, but the three of us are very involved in the community, helping out veterans and with other organizations throughout Imperial County, and that's actually how I met Ernie, working on one of my gigs. So I'm the president of the Brawley Veterans Honor Wall, and one of the events that he had going they brought a flag to one of our Veterans Day ceremonies. And then one of the other events that I had going on, which is we put on seminars, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raymond, but it put on seminars for veterans to get information of all the benefits that they qualify for. And, we process them in there and whatnot. So we invite veterans throughout the county. And I think, if I recall correctly, this is where I met Raymond. And Raymond's been, we met, again, we kept bumping in other places. So
Correct. The way I met these gentlemen, I met Ernie obviously through the annual walk he does on Veterans Day. I hopped on that. To me, that was a no-brainer. I hopped on that real quick. I'm like, I have to be a part of this and do this annual Veterans Day walk to honor our veterans and our Memorial Day to honor those that are no longer with us. And Ramon, I met, like he said, through one of his seminars. I actually benefited from one of these seminars. I'm like, I'm gonna go check this out. I didn't expect much of it, but when I did go, there were VA representatives there on the spot, taking claims, and I actually got my 100% rating due to this seminar. So I'm pretty grateful for that, and also grateful for Ernie.
Thank you.
Awesome.
was that a hand grab?
I didn't know if you had to touch my leg for that.
That was dirty. There is a live feed. There is a live feed right now.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be on YouTube, so they'll see that.
So I met Ramon. I met him at the function. He said I carried a flag through the 8 Mile walk for the Veterans Walk that we do annually.
9.5.
So that's how I met him. And Raymond met him through the American Legion. But you know what? The main thing that hanging out with these guys, they keep me creative. They keep me going. They keep me, inspired. They challenge me to be better every single day. And that's what I love doing. We make fun of each other, but that's the brotherhood that we bring, because that's what I miss in the when I was in the military. Yeah. I did 21 years in the United States Army.
Oh, wow.
And
that's a lot.
The thing is, you miss that every single day, because going from a structured career to just being a civilian, which we call it, just a regular person.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it was so hard doing it. I went through a lot of struggles and a lot of pain, a lot of depression, a lot of anger. It was all these things that I had to go through to get to an idle state of mind, which, hanging out with these guys we have an output now by doing the Blue Falcon Krew, going out there and just having fun with people, and we love doing this stuff, and that's the best part. We're passionate about it.
Yeah. So the Blue Falcon started first like as a group of guys that.
Yeah. So I don't know. You want me to go on that? You want to speak on that, Ernie?
Well, I mean, we could all give three opinions to it.
We've been going back and forth there. I don't know if you went onto Ernie's page on Facebook. He has like 22,000 followers. I don't know. We call him our rock star, right? Because he is the famous one amongst us. So even though all three of us are well known throughout the community, he brings that rock star side to it. But I once as a joke, I said, "Damn, Ernie, you got all these followers. We should be doing something with it." But the fact of the matter is that the three of us, I've said to some folks, you got three rock stars, and I don't refer that. I don't mean that we're like anything special. What I mean is that the three of us have this work ethic, and we have this hunger to give back to the community, and we have this with his will that we just want to take care of other veterans because we understand each other. We understand all the issues that veterans face once they leave active duty and as they go on, issues with homelessness, economical issues. Economical hardships, unemployment, PTSD. And then, obviously the biggest problem that our veterans are facing across our nation is the average 22 veterans that commit suicide a day. So, all kidding aside, we said, hey, you know what, we can do something. And we've all worked individually with different organizations, different places where we found ourselves working alone and carrying most of the load. And, we said, it's three of us. We have this work ethic and this hunger. Hey, let's combine, man. And that was my idea. Of course, it just came as something just playing around. We came up with the name. Ernie, you care to tell folks out there what a Blue Falcon is?
Well, see, the Blue Falcon in the military and law enforcement and pretty much first responders, a Blue Falcon is a buddy fucker, right?
A what?
A buddy fucker. And what a buddy, like a person that tells on somebody else, basically a person that screws somebody over and
throws somebody under the bus,
Yeah, I mean, you had to say it 5 times already before I even got my words out, but thank you.
Yeah, there you go. We're helping you out, brother.
See, those are Blue Falcons right there, cutting me off and shit.
Oh, okay.
No, we're helping you out, bro. We're actually bailing you out.
No, you're not bailing me out. Just because I got an Irish accent, you have to get on me.
You look like you're about to swallow that damn microphone. I got a picture of it too.
Maybe I can. Maybe I want to.
Tongue out and everything.
That's pretty gross.
And take some selfies like that. But anyway, so that's what a Blue Falcon is. So we carry that because it's going to catch the eye. It's going to be that. What the hell is this? And it's going to get people to want to be, more involved or try to find out what we're about, and it's just going to bring more people to the table, and I mean we just got something special going, and it's going to be a big wave.
I think it catches more the ear than the eye, but okay.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Tomato.
He's right. It catches the ear because we wanted to have fun. We want to address serious issues that are affecting our veteran community, but we wanted to laugh. We want to have a good time. There are enough Dr. Phil. There are enough places where people go and cry, and you have people cry here too, and we'll let them, but we're gonna laugh a lot, and we want to laugh. We want that spin on it. So when the name came up, originally it was for apparel, for T-shirts, and then as we decided we were just hanging out, right? As you can see, we're hanging out, trying to figure out designs and meeting with a graphic artist and to get things done for our shirts. We noticed that we laughed a lot, and we noticed we talked a lot of trash, and we decided, hey man, we should do a podcast. And what are we going to talk about? Well, what do we talk about? Well, we always talk about.
Yeah.
I like talking about me.
And we like talking about.
Would have never known. Fuck.
And we like talking about Ernie too, right?
That's news to me.
So we decided, and we actually put a role together, right? And this is the reason I decided on these roles and then pitched it to them. So everything that we do on here, by the way, everything that we do has to be 3 votes in favor. So if any one of us ever disagrees with anything, we just won't do it. So everything that we do, we have to agree. So what I pitched to them, I said, hey, look, man, let's try out this show. Let me be the moderator. Ernie, you're our rock star. And Raymond he's very quiet. He's not very talkative. But what Raymond does, he's real good at bringing Ernie back down to earth. So I said,
I bring him down to earth.
I don't get it.
Oh, you will.
So, and
it's funny because when I was trying to figure out, because my mics are different, like sensitivity, right? That one needs somebody that speaks really loud to be right next to. So I thought you're the one that speaks the most. And then this was really sensitive. So I was like, I noticed that he's really quiet. So
I'm sensitive to that.
And he's
I figured
also.
that one was, Ramon's going to be on that one because it's a bigger one and it looks like a microphone. And he's a Marine, so they're kind of get confused with what's a microphone.
You don't got to get that close. Or back up a little bit.
Kind of like
But I kinda
Ernie
like
Kutcher.
it.
You put the one that looks like a big penis in front of Ernie's face.
And he's like, it's not that big.
He's loving it. He's just not that big. It's that bigger.
Yeah. I've had bigger mics
So
in my face.
what branches of the military do you guys serve in?
So I served in the United States Marine Corps, 1996 through the end of 2003.
I served in the United States Army from 2003 to 2014. Excuse me.
Wow, guys. I served from 1991 to 2012.
72.
What branch?
What?
So what was the
United
years?
States Army.
Army.
Did you say 1972?
Get out of here with that
Say
shit.
it again.
You know what? Can you read this? No, it was 1991
Holy
to
shit.
2012.
Are you serious? 1991?
Yes, I went in at 18, I think it was, or some shit. But
Did the court have to sign for you?
Doesn't matter.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
were-
one of those stories.
So you decided to do a podcast because you most of the good podcasts that I listen or that are fun are those podcasts where it's just a bunch of friends just shooting the shit and having fun. But at the end of the day, like you guys also have a goal, a mission.
You have
you
a
guys-
purpose.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. So we talked about something again. We mentioned the 22, and the average of 22 is something we take very seriously, and we face here in our own community. And we wanted to share with stories of success, stories of a better way to put it is stories of survival. But we've had a lot of folks who've had tremendous success out in the community, who have survived and thrived after dealing with PTSD and all the other issues that veterans deal with. And we want to share that, and we want to share that so that it might inspire others to also seek out that outlet and that motivation to move forward instead of getting stuck, instead of ending up in a dark room, instead of ending up 6 feet under, instead of just because it's a quick spiral downward when you come out here. And again, like Ernie mentioned, that we lived in a structural world. We go in when we're 18, we're kids, and we come out of there men, right? 24, 25, 30 years old. Ernie was 47, I think.
I was 37.
That was shit.
I don't remember.
Wow.
It's been so long ago.
So when you come out here and you're used to, for example, Ernie was an E7. I was a sergeant in charge of a whole lot of different things. And you come out here and you come back from the war, everyone's buying you shots and you're this and you're that. And then, but then, you're looking for work, then trouble, then, reality quickly hits you, and then you seek, alternatives to, help you feel better, alcoholism, drugs, bar fights, whatever you can think of, right? And what we want this show to do is be an inspiration to others, that hopefully they'll see your story, see one of our stories or one of the people that come on our show and see, what, there is a way. And there's more to it. Raymond, if you care to jump in on some of that, we talked about building networks, outreach, education.
Yeah, it's more than one issue. Obviously, that's number one issue, but there's other issues: unemployment, personal financial problems, all kinds of issues that we'd like to address. But each podcast we're gonna feature different guests on there and have different topics we speak about. So it's great that we can, I don't know, maybe somebody can't identify with suicide, but they can identify with alcoholism or different methods that they used to try to cope with the issues they're having. So that's why we try to change it up and have different topics on the show to try to kind of relate to that veteran out
maybe
there.
like reach somebody out there that's
And
Right.
because it is okay to get help. We were all in that dark spot in our lives, and we had to reach out.
Yeah.
I reached out to Ramon and Raymond.
And I mean, not to you guys are veterans, and you seem okay. Like you look
on the
okay.
outside.
On the outside.
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
about Ramon.
I look pretty good, but you see my guns?
My question is, why do you think for some people it's harder to, for some veterans it's harder to, get to a point like where you guys are at, where they can cope with
It's all about support. I'm telling you, that's one of the biggest things. Having support. If you don't have that support, it's so easy, like Ramon said, to spiral out of control. And one of the biggest things is getting a mission again, because a lot of times we get out and we don't have a mission, we don't have a purpose, and you got to get one of those things so that you have an outlet in life. Because if you don't have that, I'm telling you, bad things happen when you got an idle mind.
God damn, you see, when he gets going, I'm ready to do push-ups, man. God damn it.
He's gonna rip out of his shirt, like Hulk Hogan or something.
Fucking Macho Man Randy Savage going off with it.
Yeah, so he talked about an outlet. I constantly like to talk about that, an outlet. I like to say that you find a passion, and I found this passion to actually help out and do a lot of things and help out. Just hard work and getting stuff done. Be more about action than talk, because a lot of people out here, especially politicians, like to talk about, we're going to help veterans, we're going to do this and that, but we decided that, hey, we're actually going to do something, and it's great that we're actually doing it.
Yeah, and one thing that real quick, let me just throw in there is that a lot of things we do, people can't relate to us. People and veterans that are listening to us can tell you that. And so one of the things that they got to do is kind of break down that pride just a little bit, right? Be willing to step out of that, because we're known for being heroes, right? We're known for being, that's what they call us. And we're known for being tough guys, and we're known for being willing to go overseas and kick ass, take names, and then we come home. But we're misunderstood, and we don't fit in. Our culture doesn't allow us to be part of the everyday world in our community as much as we try. And the jokes start, and use, different things, right? One reason that I decided when I met with these two gentlemen, obviously I've been seeing them from afar and seeing things they're doing. I respect them, and I admire the things that they do, because it takes a lot of commitment and dedication. But the reason that we are clicking is because we are able to understand each other. We all have issues. We all suffer from PTSD. It's all diagnosed, right? We all go to the VA and get treatment. I'm on pills and therapy. Ernie should be on pills, but he's not.
Diet pills or what kind of pills?
Raymond needs to be off of alcohol, but diet pill, that's messed up.
Oh, I don't know what you're.
And that is one thing that we are able to rely on each other now. We're able to reach out to each other for support, and we built our little internal network, and that's what we hope to build for other veterans. It's all about support, like Ernie said. It's that network and being able to reach out and see the Ernie, like, when you get a chance right now, I don't know when you go into it, we have talk about our first podcast. We did a practice one, and we haven't released it yet. We will. But it was fantastic. And, it'd be nice to talk about it.
Shit, it was about, 2 hours?
Yeah, it went on forever.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, to me, like, sometimes, like, I'll go for, like, an hour and 40, and, like, you lose track of time. Like, once that conversation starts flowing, like, it's like time flows. Why do you think it's hard for some veterans to seek that support or that help?
A lot of it is knowledge. It's just knowing where to go. You're thrown out here, and things are changing a little bit for the better. A little bit. They've changed over the last, since I got out at the end of 2003. They've changed, gotten better throughout. But a lot of it was knowledge. That's the reason I started the seminars. I remember going into the VSO one day and saying, "Hey, I need help," and the VSO officer says, "Wait, what? Tell me," and I'll write it down. And I'm like, well, I could have done that on my own if I was going to guess, right? And that prompted I made another gentleman who's he's Special Forces, the Marine Corps. He's the one that pitched this, doing this. But I decided to put these on because we're able to open up the floor for 4 to 5 hours for a full presentation of everything that a veteran can access, all the services that are out there. And, that's the first part.
Everything they've earned.
Everything they've earned, absolutely. And the second is, just willing to step out of the shadows. And I think that's the biggest one is folks just, hey, man, get over that pride, because it's not just about you. You think about, I'm a tough guy, whatever. But what about your family? What about your wife and your children and others around you that love you? Those who love you, who are suffering as a consequences of your issues and that you picked up as a consequence of your service to this great nation.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what it is. A lot of it's pride. I don't know if you guys got,
No, you know what? I agree with you 100%. It is pride because, it's built in our head. We don't show weakness. We push through, physical fitness training. When we're feeling, pain, it's like push through that pain, and then now it's like, I don't need help. I could win this. I could push myself through it. But guess what? No, you can't sometimes. There's some of us that can. I know I couldn't. And I didn't know what to do until I reached out and I got some help. And I talked to a therapist. They gave me some pills and stuff, try to balance me out. because I was freaking out.
We can all tell you're not taking them, by the way.
But, yeah.
Actually, last podcast we had Allison, and she made a great point that she said it's not a sign of weakness; it's a sign of strength to go out and seek help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Ramon mentioned earlier respect, and I think that's a huge thing that we have amongst each other. We might have disagreements. Well, we do have disagreement, not might. We do all the time, but like he said, it's got everything we do. It's got to be unanimous, and that's a great thing. I mean, we disagree, and we respect that, and we move on to the next thing. But we also have to trust each other. If you want to have somebody to talk to, you have to trust them. You can't just be like, oh, okay, you're a veteran, so I'm gonna open up to you. No, you have to have that respect. You have to build that trust and trust that they're gonna listen to you. They're not gonna judge you, and they're gonna be there to help you out.
Yeah, and I think that's something that caught my eye when I started looking into you guys was that sometimes like because I listen to a lot of podcasts and sometimes I might be depressed or whatever, and I'll listen to somebody talk about depression or stuff like that, and it'll get me a little bit better, right? So like when it's coming from 3 veterans that have been diagnosed with PTSD, that have gone through all this stuff, that some people out there, some veterans out there that might not are not doing good,
Yes.
and they're listening to this podcast, the Blue Falcon Krew, like they'll be like, you know what, these guys where I'm coming from. Maybe I'll look into all this information that these guys are handing out. That's something that really caught my eye. That I hope that I know that you guys that's where you're going. I hope that veterans out there that are listening to you guys really take advantage of that.
One of the main things I can say on that is that we don't talk it, we walk it.
Yeah,
we've been there, done it. We've helped people. See, we don't just carry titles, because titles, don't mean crap to me. What makes a difference for me in our community is by seeing somebody out there and doing something to help veterans. Just like Raymond said about the politicians saying stuff like that. You know what? Get out of here with that crap. Do something. Don't just talk about it. And that's one of the many things. And I want to say something to those guys out there that are depressed. You know what? Push through every pain, push through every darkness, because why? You are worth every minute of being better. Push through that shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm right on top
now. Shit.
You went 6 to midnight again? No, you know what? Sometimes I've talked about this, and this is a point that I try to drive home every time at every podcast. I think I gave a speech last year for Veterans Day. It's the first time that I remember mentioning it. Is when I was always writing out my speech was, hey, you know what? There are a lot of instances where we lost people, and we lost them either to combat or training or after as a result of PTSD or whatever issues that our veterans are facing. They kill themselves. So there are several instances where we're losing our men and women who served. But I think we have to realize that whatever you believe in, if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe in whatever God or aliens or whatever you believe in, you have to realize that if you made it, if you survived, if you weren't on that bus, if you weren't on that airplane, if you weren't on the back of that Humvee, if you weren't for some reason pulled away from that patrol, or if you were hit and survived what others don't manage to, then you're here for a fucking reason. Yes. Don't waste it. Take full advantage of it. Take full advantage of that second opportunity that we received, because we were in harm's way. We really were. Yeah. Whether people say, well, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, we all face something different when we're out there. But we're all in harm's way at one point or another. And we made it. And we survived it. And we're here. So why waste that opportunity? I know it's hard. We all know it's hard. But we have to find that inner strength to, not get through it by yourself, but just enough to get off your ass and go find somebody. Just go grab another veteran. Go sit down at the American Legion, please, somewhere. Or just go to the VA. There's a lot of resources out there. If you noticed, I don't know if you watched our last podcast, we were live streaming it. We did a screening, and that's called the DSC-5. It's a screening that when you walk into the Veterans Administration for medical care, no matter what it is, ingrown toenail or, fungus in your nuts or something, I don't know.
Putting out Ernie's fucking...
Hey, who told you about it?
I didn't mean to talk about your ingrown toenail. I'm sorry. But what you do is they screen you. And they look at a lot of the issues that talk about PTSD. So if you notice, we talked about it, and we all counted off 1, 2, 3. See who suffered from those symptoms.
Yeah.
Purpose of that is for people to see that, hey, this is what it is. I want you to listen. We wanted the folks out there to listen and say, hey, you know what? I'm hitting those too. Maybe I should seek some help.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, going back to the 22, like today I was, you know, I like to prepare like when I meet with people, and you know, I was looking at some facts, you know, about veterans, and the 22 was something that really hit me. Was like, man, you know, these guys came back home, they survived, you know, whatever war they were at, and yet we're losing 22 a day. It's fucking amazing. It's mind-boggling. Like that's something that's you know, going on. You know, we talk so much about veterans, like, oh, you know, our veterans, and yet, you know, we're letting this shit happen. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? My thing is, I've always said to myself and to others, you know, we survived death. Now let's conquer life.
That's right.
You know, that's one of the main things that I try to tell everyone.
That's a great way to put it. That sounds right, spot on, right?
And if you notice, we pointed out so far our practice podcast with Robert Garcia, who has the band Lock and Load. I call it Locked and Loaded. He didn't like it when I said that. So Lock and Load, right? You know, he when it's released, we'll talk more. You'll be able to see a lot of the. We went deep with him. We went deep, including an attempted suicide, and how he survived that. And he talked about his passion being music and moving forward. You know, then we interviewed folks on the street. We interviewed another young lady who was a Navy veteran, a recipient of the ALKS Award, to help her get out of this rut that she's in right now. Then we interviewed, you know, Rosalie Hasso, fitness, modeling. We have talked to other folks, and we interviewed Jay, you know, and Allison Kellum.
Awesome people.
We have Coach Ramirez coming up this Friday, who is a jiu-jitsu coach here in Brawley, 2-time cancer survivor. He also is a war veteran, retired just recently from the Navy. And, you know, today he's in surgery again for another thing, but he'll be interviewing with us on Friday. And you know, that was his passion, was jiu-jitsu. Jay also talked about, you know, jiu-jitsu being his passion. We also talked about that support structure that he had, because his sister actually has that education and that background and can see what was happening with him. So those are the things we want to highlight, is that passion. Like Raymond says, find your passion and find that outlet, find that way to release that stress. And so whatever it takes, whatever it is, you can be great at anything. You just got to find it. And that's what we hope to highlight those stories of survival, and how these people took survival, not just survived, but are thriving, and, you know, their stories of success, to show that there is a way. You know, you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be in a rut. If you want to be quiet, if you want to live a peaceful, quiet life, hey, that's another story. That's another passion. That's another story of success, in my opinion. But people have to see that, and we're going to continue to highlight that. And it's not just famous people. We'll have some famous folks on that we're locking on, but we want to talk about everyday folks who've succeeded, and we want them to we want them to be an example to others. Yeah.
Do you feel it's harder here in the Valley that, you know, there's like that low unemployment rate, you know, where it's hard, like
high unemployment rate?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was like, which valley are we talking about?
Yeah, the high unemployment rate. You know, it's harder for it's harder for, you know, if it's harder for a regular person living in the Valley, it's harder for a veteran that's coming out.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. That just adds more to the stress that, you know, we have to go through. Now he has to go through a transition. Now he's got to figure out how he's going to support his family. So it's a lot of stuff on a veteran's shoulders. So, you know, and those are one of the things that we try to help out with, because we network. We you know, try to get people in contact with each other and hopefully get jobs it's just a lot of stuff that we try to work as a team.
Are you guys collaborating with any local agencies to, you know, help promote the podcast? How, you know, go to the podcast and, you know, give information or?
No, not yet. We're doing a lot of stuff on our own. We're using our own network. We do have a very extensive network. But, you know, like when you reached out, I was like, hey, man, that's awesome, because we're going to reach out to your audience. And then not only that, we're going to help you too, because you know, our audience will see you. And that's another way to grow it.
That's a win-win.
And we think that we have something special here. We have something special, something very unique. And we think that it's just going to grow organically, because it's that good. So we don't need to rely on agencies. Again, we talked about, government, politicians, and just things not working the way they should. What works best for us is for us to be there for each other. And so the veteran community is a very strong community. It's a nationwide community that we're going to tap into. And little by little, it's going to grow. I mean, we put our page out there 2 months ago. We're only at like 800 likes. But we're planning bigger stuff. We have the Veterans Festival coming up in April. We expect that to be huge. And we expect to grow every year. And we expect, we just started. And we know deep in our hearts that this is going to grow. This is going to get big.
And I think so too.
Yeah, thank you.
Shit, I know so.
And you know what? When it comes time to stuff like that, we are going to reach out to those politicians, to those government entities, and see if they're really about helping veterans, and hopefully they can come out and support us.
Yeah, and we gotta have credibility too, right? We gotta get something done. Nobody's gonna listen to us. What? You got 300 followers on Facebook and 12 listeners on your podcast? Like, no, we're gonna get there. We're gonna do it.
Oh, definitely.
And we're gonna do it with our work ethic and just the passion that we have for these issues. We're gonna get there. And when we get there, all these other doors will open up, and we'll be able to. A microphone is a very powerful tool.
That is.
If you want to influence policy, if you want to get people's attention, hey, this is a great way to do it. I was listening to your podcast also when you reached out to me. And I can see it. It's a great platform for people to voice their opinions, and so
it is.
We're gonna use it to its fullest.
That's something good. that I found out. And I mean, politics. I don't like politics because, especially here in the Valley, it seems like people get really aggressive when it comes to politics.
And you're from Calexico, so yeah, man. I'm from
I don't like politics either, locally or national level. I try to steer away from it as much as possible.
Hey, just so you know, a quick pitch. So Raymond's neutral on politics.
On politics,
I'm neutral.
I'm considered a progressive, and Ernie's a conservative over there on the other
neutral.
side. So you got three different views of the world. So.
We got left, we got right, and we got center. So that works well.
My thing is, I'm just tired across the board of them talking. Start doing.
Yeah. We agree on that. Get shit done, man.
Yeah. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
And that's a lot what we talk about. And actually, that's how Ernie and I, he's being conservative and I'm being considered a progressive. But we agree on a lot of different issues, and we agree on you know what? It doesn't matter which side you're on, Ernie, or which side I'm on, or Raymond doesn't give a shit, because nothing's fucking getting done anyways. Yeah. So if nothing's getting done, it doesn't matter what we believe, what we think, because nothing's happening. So how about we get together, we get some consensus going, we agree on shit, and we get shit done. Yeah. And that's the reason we have this rule in place. 3 votes. We're going to do shit that matters. If it doesn't matter, we're going to fight about it, then we're not going to do it. But I think this is the way government should work. I think that's the way everything should work, right? Let's work together. Let's find common ground, areas that we can work on together and we can advance on and get them done. Yeah. Because that's better than getting nothing done if we're always going to be fighting. So
yeah.
See, and I think a lot of the things too, that if you push down a lot of the issues to local politicians, because once the local politicians, they're going to get looked at and they're going to get really judged and get voted out if they're doing their damn job.
But the thing is that, at the national level, people are getting looked at and nothing's being done anyway. So like, it's kind of depressing that either way it's like nothing's happening. I'm sorry to cut you guys off. You could talk for like 2 more hours, but they're starting the karaoke.
We gotta do a part 2.
But anything else that you guys want to add before we?
2 times.
No, man, we really appreciate it. We're sorry we cut this short. Let's do a part 2 sometime.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Hopefully you'll have your garage ready and we can do it in your garage.
Yeah, man, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna get it all.
I mean, we got some very good stories from the 3 of us. I mean, we got personal stories that'll just blow your mind.
Yeah, I bet for reals. But yeah, it sucks that they're having karaoke. It's Tuesday night. What the fuck? Who's?
There's nobody here.
But still, I'm like, dude,
I'm getting on the mic right now.
Tuesday night,
3 fucking
people
are. It's dead the whole time.
I'm gonna hit the high notes like Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey, yeah, you look like Mariah Carey.
What?
When she
if I just throw a wig on,
she got heavy
before Photoshop.
All right, guys. Well, it was so much fun. And like I said, I'm so sorry that I have to cut you guys off. But
no problem, brother.
It was our fault. It's a coordinating issue here. Our coordinator dropped the ball. Not gonna say any names.
That Blue Falcon.
That Blue Falcon.
No, but I mean, at least we got some really good information.
Heck yeah.
There's definitely gonna be a part 2. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Make sure you go check out the Blue Falcon Krew on Facebook and Instagram. And look out for those podcasts and
we'll be putting our links out there.
Yeah, thank you guys for what you're doing. Thank you guys for being here, and
thank you for having us.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it.
Peace.